at 9 o'clock and start with our traditional land acknowledgement that we acknowledge and respect the Indigenous peoples within whose territories and lands we are meeting today. And I will look for an adoption of the agenda. Moved by Schmidtke.
Second.
Seconded by Newell. Okay, great. No changes or objections. Seeing none, that carries. We have minutes from the 27th. Any modifications or adjustments?
I have a question on that. Can I ask?
Yeah, let's do a freedom of the floor from Josh and second from Newell. No objections. Freedom of the floor for the rep from the Nelson Regional Sports Council.
On the public time side of things, it says that I addressed 3 questions.
Sure.
And that was point 8. But the 3 questions are not there, nor were the responses. Are those not supposed to be in the minutes?
Jenna, do you want to, what's practice generally with public time?
Generally, we do not record items that are in there.
Okay. That's the practice of.
That is the practice, yes.
Any follow-ups?
Just if you've got a delegate who's speaking, the minutes are there. It's there for public and transparency and the fact that I'm actually reporting to other people in the community. So when these things are posted, they're in camera. So the questions at least should be addressed. But if you don't need to respond to that, I just think that for transparency purposes, the question should be there.
Yeah, I think it would be considered in the context of all public times and all commissions. So we can take that back and talk to staff and see what the executive kind of thinks. But there's also the public component. Being able to come up and speak doesn't necessarily mean it's a platform as much as it's a time to talk to the governance body and staff about things that will be addressed.
No, I understand that part. It's just with freedom of the floor, I'm just looking for some sort of
Clarity?
clarity.
Yeah, so that's what the clarity is at the moment.
Okay.
Okay. So can I have someone move receipt of the minutes? Josh? Seeing no objections, those are received. Okay. And then we have no delegates for today. That's all fine and good. And it just moves us right on to Tricia. You're going to give us an update on our public engagement, where we're at.
Fantastic. Thanks. Good morning, everyone. So through the chair, I wanted to provide an update on a few different things. So one, maybe I'll start with the resident survey that is alive and well and open to the public to respond to until December 20th. So just for an update related to the responses to date. So this is up to, I believe it was about Friday, maybe over the weekend, numbers just for reference. So we have about 849 completed surveys to date. The breakdown of that is 530 of those, or 62%, come from Nelson. 81 of those, or 10%, are coming from defined area E. 169 of those, so 20%, are coming from area F. And 42, which is roughly 5%, is coming from the other portion of area E. And then we have 27 or 3% of responses coming from what people identified as other, which we take to be anything but those specific groups. So just a note to say that survey is out. We're getting a decent response rate to this point. And certainly I'm hoping that anyone tuning into this through the public or that references the conversation later through minutes will be encouraged to continue to participate in that survey through till the 20th of December. So since our last meeting, we also had a 4th community meeting that was held at the Prestige on November the 28th. There was approximately, we counted about 90 people in the room. Sarah, I'm looking, she can't tell I'm looking at her, but just making sure that's roughly correct from my notes anyways. And it was a good meeting. It was continuing along the themes of educating the public on a host of different things related to this project. The main topics were in how both the City of Nelson and the regional district kind of do business in relation to recreation provision, as well as information related to the proposed housing project at the corner of Front Street and Cedar, and kind of some history on that project and what where that, the hope is where that project will go from a community engagement perspective. There is a question specifically about the housing project in the resident survey, just for anyone that doesn't know that, but it does exist in there as well as along with a whole host of other very specific recreation questions that we hope people participate in. So then we also have we did a pop-up at the Nelson, we did two actually in the sorry, my brain is, I think it was last week. Sorry, the weeks are skipping by. So we did one at the Nelson and District Community Complex, and we also did one at the Kootenai Co-op. And both of those were well received. We had some good conversation with, and interesting where the conversations take us in both of those locations. And so it was, but they were well received, and we are planning to try to do one more next week to continue to get the word out about the survey before that deadline comes and goes. And Sarah's just in the works of sorting that out. But the hope is that we might be down at Save on Foods next week. The group survey is in its final throes of draft. So it's sitting with the working group right now until tomorrow morning. And then it will go live, just depending on what, if any, revisions are required. It will either go live probably that day or as late as maybe Thursday morning. Yeah, tomorrow's Wednesday, right? So Thursday morning. But that's in its final stages as well. And I believe those are the primary things I wanted to make sure everyone was aware of. So thank you.
Okay, great. Any questions about what we're doing with the resident surveys and the pop-up so far? Tricia, just because we've had the pleasure of Commissioner Tate showing up, she gave us a heads up. I don't mean it in any other way. But and Janice's Araj as well. Can you repeat those numbers, those breakdowns? I don't think they were settled, and I think, just give us those numbers again for participation.
So, through the chair, this is for the resident survey. So we've had a total of, this is up till about, I think it was the end of Friday. I can never quite tell when Rob pulled the numbers from. It would either have been Friday or Sunday. We had 849 responses. So 530 of those, or 62%, are respondents identifying from the city of Nelson. 81 or 10% are from the defined area E. 42 or 5% are from the other portion of area E. 20% or 169 responses from area F. And 3% or 27 responses for people that identified as not being from any of those 4 areas.
Okay, great. Any questions? I have a question or two. Are we going to get any opportunity to do pop-ups, say at Tagum Hall during these Christmas fairs and the other events that might be going on down there? Are all the pop-ups just going to be in the city? Yeah.
Yeah, I can do it. They were trying to hit busy spaces that were public. A lot of the Christmas craft fairs you have to book a table.
Sure.
And they're always booked up. So we were looking at even like a Christmas craft fair down at Prestige, stuff like that. But their tables get booked up like $6-7 in advance.
Okay.
So yeah, we were looking at more general public use areas. We've done Co-op, NDCC, and then Save On showing that.
Increase. Yeah.
A lot of people, different demographics of people go to each place. So when we were at the Co-op, we found it quite different and successful because a lot of people coming through at the NDCC when we were there were quite aware of what was going on, but we can't have stuff in the facility and everything. But when we were at the Co-op, we found more people weren't aware of the project and the engagement. So there was a lot of education happening about even who owned what in each facility in the space and why we're doing this and so on and so forth. So there was a lot of good conversations that we had throughout the Co-op. So we're hoping to get something similar at Save On. And even the people at the Co-op, we would sometimes ask, well, where are you from? And there was a lot from EF, and then even sometimes out New Denver and stuff like that. So we're finding that even if we're in the city, we're still reaching those areas.
Okay. Okay, we're okay with like Safeway and Whole Foods being different demographics still?
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead, Josh.
Just a suggestion, with the Prestige, they book the hall, and sometimes you can talk to the Prestige staff and you do something in the hallway.
Okay. Yes.
Would you have a question from Mayor Morrison?
Oh, thank you, Mayor. Looking for a mute button there.
I tried to also type in the
She did
Oh.
type it in the
Could we
chat.
please be informed of the times and dates that there might be these pop-ups? I heard Savon mentioned also could the poster boards bend a day at the mall?
Yep. So working with Savon right now, had issues getting in touch with some of them, so we're just trying to confirm a date. We're aiming for next Tuesday, from 11:30 to 1:30 we'll be down there. So that's what we're aiming for. It's not confirmed yet. So I can follow up and let you guys know when that's confirmed.
Are you contacting Savon or the mall?
Both.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you've got contacts with both now?
So, yeah, I've been in touch with Savon. They're the ones that have been the most responsive, so just people are off right now. So trying to sort that through, but we'll get there. We'll get a spot up next week. I can move around the boards. We just put them up at the Meridian across from the Hume there. There's one at NDCC now, and then we'll be putting this afternoon, I'm going to put up some out in area F, and then tomorrow I'll be going out into that direction, not necessarily area E, but that space, and getting one out there as well.
When you say the Meridian,
The
Island.
yes, between the
for
Hume,
the panels,
so not the panels, we have sandwich boards that we put out.
that doesn't pop up.
Not that there's a pop-up to notify people that there's a
QR
survey
code,
out
yeah.
there, QR code, letting people know.
So I think the chat was an idea.
Panels,
Yeah, I think it was about having the panels.
Yeah.
They've done that reno, there's that big white wall just outside of Savon. Can we hang those?
I found my mute button, so yeah, it's the panels that go on the stands, the 10 panels or whatever. If we could have them, and hopefully you could get a hold of somebody, hopefully at the mall, because the coffee shop there on the one side, and I mean, I think one of the most traveled areas is either to be at Walmart by the food court or by the Save On Foods, of people coming in and out and going to the liquor store there. With that area closed, I don't know why we couldn't have a foot of the mall right beside where the coffee shop was, to have those panels lined up outside. So it's not about sandwich boards for make sure you do the assessment, but the actual information that people can read.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I will endeavor to do my best. I can't put anything up in the mall without having a contact, and they've been a little difficult to get a hold of. I've tried a few times, so I will endeavor to do my best to get them there. I probably would not put them on our stands just for purposes of people running into them and so on and so forth.
Yeah, you'd have to hang up.
Yeah, so we'd have to put them on the wall, and so that there's some items there, but I will endeavor to do my best to get those out there for sure. There was even conversation of putting them up to NBCC. I know that it's quite a targeted demographic that goes there that are more recreation, and it may be more valuable, but we have the most control at the NBCC. If there is space potentially at City Hall and you guys wanted to put them up there, I can provide them to you to put them there as well. Just knowing that when we have control of spaces, it's a little bit easier to get that information out there than trying to
Totally.
arrange people.
So two thoughts. I'd be, again, reach out to the mall.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say for the mayor, but maybe if the mayor's office needs to hang them all if they're not getting back. Then the other thing would be, you've got lots of large format printers in existence at the office here. So maybe just printing off the panels as pieces of paper.
So they are right now, so they can come off. and
Okay.
get here. Yeah, so that's.
I don't want to get into the house. Sounds like you got it covered.
Yeah.
But maybe the mayor's office can lean on the mall for half a second to get you in touch with someone.
Thanks.
I think it would be a great opportunity. You're going to have long-term traffic always coming and going. They're great to read. They're great to stop while you're coming out with your groceries. So I think we can keep them there. Go ahead, Dave.
Two things that we've had success with user groups in the community is utilizing the gas stations, which are community involved. And we've got one on either side that folks heading out to Balford and Caslow drives by or utilize. So your sandwich boards are effective at the Meridian there. I've had a few people phone me with regards to those. What is this about? So having the more Robertsons that tag them.
Exactly where it's going
So
today.
perfect. That's excellent.
Great. Seeing no further questions, I think that takes us on to public time. Am I wrong? Am I right? Just have to speak. Okay. On to public time. What time are we at? Okay. Any questions from the public?
I had asked my questions earlier with regards to the pieces here. I want to thank you very much for arriving at the subcommittee meeting that we had last week. We are seeing some regular engagement from user groups that haven't been involved in the past.
Yep.
We, as the Nelson Regional Sports Council, appreciate all the work that's being done, but there is some concerns that our voice is really not being heard. We are doing everything we can within the Nelson Regional Sports Council to communicate as we're seeing things come up, but there are groups that are aggravated and frustrated, and I can't speak on their behalf, but you heard the frustration at the meeting that you attended. We'll continue to keep the collaboration and the communication open between our groups as well as the Rec 5 Commission, but we're struggling a little bit to calm the groups a little bit. So I just wanted to share that with you. And then again, the piece that we're here as volunteers and not getting the documentation and the transparency with reflection to the minutes of the 3 questions that were asked and the responses that were given. There's nowhere for the general public to see that. And we're here to offer our input and our support where we can. But if we're not being heard and communications being clear, then it's frustrating. And that's it.
So I think we'll have to probably have a conversation at a future meeting. I do want to just make sure if you were to send a correspondence, we typically to the commission, we would include that in our agenda. You'll see practice of that throughout the year.
Yeah.
That could be a mechanism that's currently available for any organization or any member of the public who wants to address something to commission itself and have that shown up in some public record. It would show up in a public record.
We were understanding that this was on public record.
Yeah. So public time serves a service to the public, and we're doing a little something different here. I would not necessarily say that the public time is where we're going to have a detailed description, a transcript of a conversation. It's serving another function, and there's other considerations around all the different variety of requests that come through public time and how they're treated from a staff level, from an efficiency piece, from a transparency piece. Like, these meetings are published well ahead of time. They're open to the public. We have the observer members of the public are recording them and putting them online. That's extra and above and beyond what the board has decided in terms of how we record and keep the record of commission and committee meetings. And that decision is one that the board has taken. But correspondence are certainly available if you guys want to provide some sort of update after your board meetings and you want to address it to commission. That's a mechanism. And if need be, commission could discuss other ways of formatting these agendas and these minutes or having reporting pieces out, but I would leave that to a discussion of the next commission. Was it a hand?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. So we'll keep striving towards those goals of how we can work effectively together. If that doesn't prompt any further discussion, then we're done. And our next meeting is on January 29th at 9 a.m. Can I have a motion to adjourn? I adjourn. Josh and Kate, and seeing no objections. Wow, that was the fastest meeting.
Chairman, that'll take a second.
No, and so those, so the user group survey is going out today, Sarah?
No, you guys have, or the working group has until tomorrow morning to provide feedback, and then I will do my best to get that sent out tomorrow afternoon.
I should have asked this during committee, but if some magic, and I don't expect it to happen with Panda Post,
Yeah.
would we send out those, is there just abandoned?
Yeah, but I do have some here if anybody would like to take any to hand out.
Oh, great.
I have more if you need more.
Do you have all of them? Do you have enough to mail out?
We don't have enough to mail out. We have